Hey there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm Cassandra from CassandraTyndall.com, and I guess in my professional, cutting edge astrological opinion, these eclipses are not mucking around. So we are definitely deep into the eclipse portal this week. Um, we've just come out of the full moon or lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces. So that was definitely full of horrible, insane events this week that have evoked the energy of Pisces. Spirituality, religion, compassion, forgiveness, and emotion. This eclipse in Pisces was ruled by Jupiter, who is exalted in Cancer. So, this combination of very watery, very feminine, yin, emotive energies, and this eclipse spotlighted it all. 15 degrees also happens to be in both, not only does Jupiter rule the sign of Pisces, but this eclipse at 15 degrees also holds the Egyptian term and bound of of Jupiter, as well as the face or the decan of Jupiter. So Jupiter has been a big theme of this week and of this eclipse cycle thus far. So we're talking themes of morality, of ethics, of what's right and wrong, of religion, of spirituality, of fairness, of what's just, and just this idea of what does it mean to have all the working parts working as a cohesive whole. And this is what has, I think, been broken down in many ways. And sometimes it does take a very horrible and tragic event for us to sort of turn around and sort of think, well, where did things go wrong? What do we need to fix? What do we need to repair? And how do we, no pun intended, how do we use this as a turning point to get back to some kind of workable solution? We've also just had Saturn come back into Pisces. And then next month, we will have Neptune coming back into Pisces. And then, so that these two outer bodies are kind of sandwiched the energy of this eclipse. A good friend of mine slash astrological colleague as well, Laura Matsu, posted on her social medias a picture of a book she was reading. I believe the author's name is Derek Appleby, and it must have been an eclipse book. And it said that an eclipse, a lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces can result in the death of a great man. We certainly had that this week, and the outpouring of emotion, and the whole emotional cycle will run its course collectively. And I feel that this event has been the collective laxative that we've needed to take to resolve us of a spiritual constipation that collectively we've been going through. And it will often take, either at the collective level or a personal level, some great loss or some great constriction in our life before we can get that growth or that renewal or that grit and determination to generate that positive change. And I suggest we'll start to see that coming in really thick and really fast, because that is one of the things that the eclipses can do. They tend to speed up time. Things, even at the personal level, things that you might think are a few years away. No, they're probably 6 to 18 months away, 12 to 18 months. They're going to be a lot closer. Things do tend to go on fast forward during eclipse season. So we'll definitely experience a really big resurgence of Piscean energy again. I do think it's going to be Pisces with a difference, because both Saturn and Neptune have, been cleansed in the Aries fires a little bit and then returning to Pisces. So I think there will be a great resurgence of the Piscean energy. And that will be what will carry us through into the new Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries cycle. A quick segue about the energy of Pisces. It most certainly isn't going anywhere just because these outer planets do leave those signs for a very long time, early next year. And that is the next Saturn Pluto conjunction happens in the sign of Pisces. That I think happens from memory. I've been kind of keeping my eye on it for a while because I've been really curious about what it might mean. I think that really kind of kicks off in terms of the conjunctions in around 1953. And the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune happens at 14 degrees of Pisces. This eclipse just happened at 15. So I really do think, these storylines will not be over, put it that way. But anyway, let's turn our attention a little bit more to this week. We are still in the eclipse portal, so time feels different. Sleep is often not great. Energy is not great. Fatigue. And while there can still be a lot of positive things going on, collectively, personally, there's just this energy that just things really do feel different. There's the energy of change, disruption, not sure what's going to happen. Eclipses are very, very unique periods of time energetically. This week, we get two sign changes whilst in that eclipse portal because we won't get the next eclipse until the 21st, the 22nd here in Australia in Virgo. That's on the South Node. More about that next time. But now we're in that kind of Christmas, New Year period where you're maybe hungover, you ate too much, you don't know what time of day it is, where you're meant to be going. You're still full from lunch, but hey, we're going to shove in another dinner, that type of energy. It's just very, very weird. But yeah, we've got two planet sign changes this week. We have Mercury moving into Libra and Venus moving into Virgo. I did a really deep dive on all of this sort of stuff in my Golden Circle membership. So if you do like deep dives on all the aspects of the week, how they might feel, what might play out, how you can utilize the energies that's all included in the Golden Circle membership. But I guess in the theme of the eclipse, in the theme of the events of this week, is to Mercury in Libra, the idea of Mercury being a planet of communication, of ideas, of speech, Libra being the scales, the balance, justice, all perspectives. Libra is the sign of democracy in a sense that everyone gets a say, that everybody's ideas are valid and welcome, and having maybe the courage to express an idea, have a conversation, entertain thoughts to others that are not going to result in you being cancelled, that are not going to result in you being, I probably shouldn't say the K word on YouTube, but you know what I mean. It's like cancel culture has morphed into the K culture that ends in two L's. So, getting back to the idea of being able to communicate and not being offended, to be able to take an idea on board and go, well, isn't that interesting? And being able to debate, to be able to engage each other, to not be, clutch your pearls every time someone doesn't agree with you or like what you have to say. So, what's quite interesting is that towards the end of the week, we get a lot of mercurial energy. So we'll have Mercury at the very end of Virgo will oppose Saturn and then it will slip into Libra. And then once it moves into Libra, it's going to make connections with all of the outer planets. An opposition to Neptune. This might be where you entertain wild or crazy ideas. Maybe you explore more of a spiritual understanding or a religious understanding, or maybe you just feel really dazed and confused about where things are or where you are at in a certain situation in your life. You might voice an idea that might seem sudden or shocking or a little out of character, that might feel unique and authentic, but maybe just slightly upsetting the apple cart because that's what Uranus does do. But sometimes that's what it takes to bring that real transformation. The next part of Mercury's journey this week is the trine to Pluto. If we're all just kind of being in the Pleasantville situation, if you might remember that movie from such a long time ago, if we all sort of just stay in the black and white, where there's no shades of gray or there's no color, then we don't really get to have that open communication, that open dialogue, and that open debate, which really is the benchmark and the hallmark of a true and authentic existence. So whether you want to share some ideas online, that might be something that you don't normally share. Maybe you want to have a conversation with a friend, a colleague, a partner that you normally don't talk about. Maybe you've been shutting up and putting up for too long and you just don't want to anymore. And you want to rebalance those scales by going in the opposite direction of what you might need to do. Sometimes that's what Libra does. It will be that devil's advocate. It can argue just to get that sense of balance. It can go to one end of the spectrum and the other to find that place in the middle. And that's what I have some Libra stuff, and that's one of the most infuriating parts about me to some other people. But you don't really make a decision when it comes to the energy of Libra until you've got everybody's input and opinion, and that's what makes the world go round. So I do hope you've had a fairly gentle eclipse personally, even though it's been a little rough collectively. I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. November, I have an in-person event in Brisbane where I'll be going through the astrology of 2026. So if you are in Brisbane or can get to Brisbane, there'll be a link in the show notes below where you can find out more about that and join us. It's going to be a wonderful day. And of course, the link to the Golden Circle membership is below where you can explore the month of September, the whole back catalogue for, I don't know, 4 years or something's there now, and a lot more to come in this space. So, anyway, I hope you have a really wonderful week, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about the astrology of the moment in the comments below. So, take care, and I'll see you next time.